Ladies and gentlemen, this man ate his roommate. Hold on. Come on now. Are we in the 21st century, bro? He ate his roommate, bro. Let's check this out, bro. I ain't gonna say no more. We're gonna check it out. Let's see if he really ate his roommate.
Horrorcore,
It might be
a subgenre
lies.
of hip-hop where rappers will take their lyrics, imagery, and messaging to the darkest brinks that they can possibly imagine. At times, this genre gives us some hard-hitting, intense storytelling that is both effective and artistic. Other times, it can be a bit gimmicky and seem more like a competition to say the most messed up thing possible, even if it means nothing.
Word.
However, there is another category of horrorcore that has made the genre as controversial as it is, and that's when artists actually do the things that they are rapping about. Today we'll be talking about Big Lurch, an artist whose crime was more intense and disturbing than anything he
Big Lurch. I thought he said
rapped
Big Leech at first.
about.
He
A
looked
crime
like
that
Leech in the
included
fit.
Class
Nah,
A
stop.
drug use,
Boy, he come
murder,
eating us.
and actual cannibalism.
Pause. Yeah,
This
I know what I
crime
meant.
greatly overshadowed the career of Big
Watch
Lurch,
that
so
video.
unlike other episodes where we dive deep into their musical
Stop being weird.
career, we're instead going to cover that briefly before jumping right into this insane case, because trust me, there is more than meets the eye when it comes to the case of Big Lurch. Antron Singleton was born on the 15th of September 1976 in Fort Worth, Texas.
What the fuck is this nigga's fingers? Yo, this nigga got like... Yo, if E.T. had hands and they cut off his fingers to like nubs, they started growing a little bit, that's what this nigga's fingers look like, bro. Like, what's up?
He had an early interest in
This nigga's a beast.
poetry, but in the
Fucking animal.
80s, this turned into a passion for hip-hop and he started rapping under the alias G Spade. This would later become Big Lurch because of how tall he was, standing at around 6'6" in size. In retrospect, Lurch had a lot of success in the 90s from an underground perspective, and he wasn't even really doing horrorcore at the time. He started collaborating with the likes of E40, RBL Posse, Mystical, and Too Short. Many of these artists are still well known today
Word.
and had a huge impact on the hip-hop scene in the 90s, specifically in the West Coast. Big Lurch wasn't as well known as some of his contemporaries, but he was right there with them, collaborating, networking, and rubbing shoulders with some of hip-hop's biggest names.
Hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. This nigga's 6'6". Come up to you, bro, start telling you something about some, what do they call it, hardcore, horrorcore? Yo, I'm not gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? Hung. Fuck is you talking about, bro?
On top of this, he was quite talented
I ain't
and
fucking
sounded
with no nigga named Big Lurch who got E.T. nub fingers. No.
right at home with the rappers he collaborated with.
Brainwaves with no assumptions. I'm ready to roll with something. If you wanna come get it, I'm thumping. We get split quick, fucking with this. You don't understand. This ain't your original.
Apart from his solo career, Lurch formed a group with two other musicians, Dooney Baby and Rick Rock. Together they created
All up in them Doonies, baby.
the trio
Yes, sir,
known
that's
as
a W
Cosmic
rap
Slop
name.
Shop and released one
Dooney,
studio
baby.
album, The Family.
Me get
From
the
everything
Doonies,
I was
baby.
able to find, this album was also quite good and definitely well put together. Unfortunately, this didn't translate to sales and the album wasn't that successful. They had one song called Sinful that did decent numbers and got a small bit of radio play, but apart from that, the Cosmic Slop Shop weren't all that successful, and although there was a lot of potential and talent within the group, the numbers weren't there and the group disbanded
Hey, bro, I ain't getting no album from no niggas who name and they got their music group, the Cosmic Slop Shop.
in 1999.
Tighten up.
That was the end of Lurch's musical endeavors in the 90s,
Tighten
and
the
although he
fuck
wasn't
up.
a famous artist by any stretch, that particular decade wasn't all bad. He got his foot in the door, collaborated with quite a few accomplished rappers, and managed to release a full studio album through a record label with the group that he helped create. It looked like the 2000s might have been the decade that Lurch could truly find his success, but it started off in the exact opposite direction. On the 16th of September 2000,
Bro, this nigga talks so much, bro. I'm trying to see this nigga eat somebody, bro.
Antron was
Pause.
hit by a drunk driver and was badly injured. In order to cope with the pain that his crash brought him, he started taking PCP, otherwise known as angel dust, a highly addictive hallucinogen.
Oh, nah, that just took a turn for the worse. This nigga got into a car accident. You rapping. Now you taking PCP?
and
Nigga,
a
that's
drug
spice.
that also numbs
Nigga, you smoking spice, nigga.
the user. Although it could technically be used to numb somebody's pain, PCP is one of the most intense drugs in the world, as we've learned with so many cases where people do insane things. Well, unfortunately for Lurch and those around him,
I don't know why he was on that PCP. That nigga, you know what I'm saying?
he would be right in the
Niggas in his room. You know what I'm saying? Took a little hit of that PCP. You know what I'm saying? That PCP wood. They had no food, no ramen, no bread, no eggs, no milk, no nothing, no tuna, no Vienna sausages, nigga. Nigga seen his roommate and went in.
midst of this
Everything,
insanity
bro, you
less
can't
than
even-
18 months after.
Bro, you can't even make it sound like.
In the early 2000s,
I'm
Big
done.
Lurch
I ain't
had
even
started
gonna
to
say nothing
perform
more.
horrorcore music. It wasn't a new genre by any means of the imagination, and he had definitely dabbled in it before, but he was ready to make a full project in the subgenre. While he was recording this project, he was living in a Los Angeles apartment with a few friends, including 21-year-old Tanisha Yesias and her boyfriend Thomas Moore. On April 9th, 2002, Thomas Moore and Antron started smoking PCP together. According to Antron and almost all of the people who were in the apartment that night, what actually happened was a blur, but the next morning, one of Tanisha's friends, Alyssa Allen, entered the apartment and found Tanisha's body. Her chest had been torn open. Tooth marks were found on her body and small parts of her remains were seemingly missing. Shortly after this, Antron Singleton was found in the streets of
Hold
LA
up.
near his apartment.
Nigga, what?
Open. Tooth
Nigga, what? Her chest was torn open. Nigga. This
entered
nigga
the
mauled
apartment
her,
and
bro.
found
Like an
Tanisha's
animal,
body.
bro. This
Her
nigga ate
chest
her
had
like a
been torn
wolf.
open. Tooth marks were found on her body and small parts of her remains were seemingly missing. Shortly after this, Antron Singleton was found in the streets of LA near his apartment. He was completely naked, covered in blood, and he was screaming at the sky.
Look. I can't say nothing for anybody over the age of 21. 21. But if you under the age of 21, please do not do no fucking drugs, nigga. Please, nigga. This nigga done mauled this young lady. Like she a goddamn bunny rabbit or some shit, and this nigga goddamn wolf or a fox, nigga.
He was
Covered in
immediately
blood, naked on the streets, nigga. High off some shit. What the fuck is you talking about?
apprehended and taken into
No.
custody. A medical exam was conducted that showed that
No.
Singleton had recently consumed flesh that was not his. At first glance, this case was open and shut. Antron Singleton had taken PCP with his friends, and a few hours later, he killed and ate parts of his roommate. Now, it is more convoluted than that, and we'll talk about that soon, but as far as the justice system was concerned, this was more than enough. Singleton
More than enough. This nigga that ate somebody, bro. More than enough? Nigga, you putting niggas in the electric chair, bro, for the goddamn murder one person, bro. This nigga ate somebody.
pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity,
Swallowed, ate flesh, nigga.
but this
Nigga,
defense
come on
failed, and in 2000,
Nigga like a fucking a werewolf slayer, bro. Grab their heart, you know what I'm saying, and just eat it, bro. Like, come on,
he was
bro.
found guilty of murder and aggravated mayhem, and
That's
was
like that neo-Nazi shit where they take deer hearts and just eat it. Y'all ain't watch Shameless?
subsequently sent to
on now.
life in prison without the possibility of parole. As I mentioned previously, Antron was working on a horrorcore album, and unfortunately for him, some of these songs were used against him in court. Specifically the song I Did It To You, a song where he talked about murder in a cold and unabashful way and compared himself to multiple different fictional horror characters and real-life serial killers.
Yeah, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, and Freddy Krueger, Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Manson, and all of your friends are Prince to school ya.
Oh nah. That's the first 10 words of your goddamn rap, nigga. Jeffrey Dahmer, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, goddamn all the niggas who rape, kill, and do evil shit, nigga. That's the first 10 words of your fucking song, nigga.
The murder's a hobby, I'm using a torture chamber, not a hookah. So if you wake up and I put in my blood, I did it to you.
Oh nah.
This song was from the album It's All Bad, and it was actually released by the label that he was working with a year after he was sentenced. A very strange and morbid promotional tactic they used was through the album artwork of this record. It was a Photoshop picture of Big Lurch holding a platter with a human skull on top of it, very obviously alluding to the horrid crime that he had committed. It was around this time that people started to ask some questions. The label were obviously trying to profit off this crime, and this put some interesting question marks on the case.
This nigga is sentenced. He's not making no money. They not putting no money on this nigga books from the music he made while he locked up, bro. They trying to take that money and run. They trying to, you know what I'm saying, bro? They trying to come up.
The more people looked, the more people found, and as it turns out, there was a lot more discrepancies with this case than people think. Big Lurch didn't necessarily profess his...
Hell no, nigga, hold on, let me go back, nigga. To make this shit, no, hell no, nigga. First of all, do not take drugs. Second of all, do not take drugs with a person that you know you not gonna goddamn kill and eat when you off the fucking drugs, nigga. Third, nigga, why is you rapping about Marilyn Manson, Charles Manson, goddamn Freddie, all them niggas, bro? They got movies about these killers. He ain't innocent. That nigga guilty.
Big Lurch didn't necessarily profess his innocence immediately. However, he always claimed that he had no idea what had happened on that night, and that it's entirely possible that there was a lot more to the story.
Shorty. He was off the drugs, man.
The first reason there may have been some discrepancies...
That nigga was off that shit, bro. Like, think about it, bro. He ate this woman, bro.
Was his label.
You know what I'm saying? This woman probably came, you know what I'm saying, link up with a local rapper, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro.
He was signed to a record company called Black Market Records from Sacramento, and it's safe to say that they had quite the reputation. They would promote their artists as dangerous criminals, and they did everything in their power to sell this gangster image to the masses. We already talked about the disturbing album artwork that they released, but what you might not know is that Black Market Records had actually done this before with another artist named X-Rated. Rated was another rapper from the Sacramento area who went to prison around 10 years prior for murder. Black Market Records, his label at the time, released 4 albums while he was behind bars, and although it was apparent that X-Rated was involved in most of this, it's also very clear that Black Market Records were willing to market his music in whatever way possible. Allegedly, they did the same thing to Big Lurch. Apparently, when they found out that he was smoking PCP for his pain, they decided to provide him with even more drugs in order to authenticate his gangster image and make his music more believable. This same argument was made by Tanisha's mother, Carolyn Stinson, who actually filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the label, claiming that they had fed Antron the drugs that led him to do.
Now that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
This. This lawsuit didn't really go anywhere, but this theory remained quite popular for a while. However, it's not the most popular alternative to what happened that night. A documentary called Big Lurch, Rhyme and Punishment was released in 2011, and Big Lurch and Tanisha's mother told us a different side of the story.
As far as her boyfriend, he was a gang member, I believe he the one set all this up. He was beating on her. She had all her stuff packed, ready to leave the day all this happened.
They got me high on purpose to take advantage of me.
She got hit in the back of the neck with a one of the little kids' scooters because her handprint was on the scooter, bloody handprint, but they said they didn't know who that was, but it wasn't his.
It's not even no proof that I actually did the murder. My prints wasn't on her weapon. It was a dope house. They didn't find no dope in the dope house, though.
She didn't smoke the PCP. It was like somebody pulled it down, you know, the bottle was pulled down her throat because she had so much in her system. They said ain't no way she could have smoked that. Footprints, fingerprints on doors, you know, bloody fingerprint, you know, shoe at the back door, you know, and it's like, where all this evidence go? It was DNA. Who DNA was? They said DNA came up lost. So they made it look like he did all this work to her. There's no way he could have done that work because the way she was messed up, hatred had to be.
All right, I hear you, mama. I hear you, mama, but I ain't trying to hear you talk no more. You talking too goddamn much.
Relationship. Antron also believes that he was set up because of the amount of PCP found in his system and her system. According to the medical examination, it was a surreal amount of PCP, and this immediately raised some eyebrows. Secondly, there was a lot of details about the case that was oddly looked over. For example, as Carolyn mentions in the clip, there was a bloody handprint on the scooter that was used in the attack. This handprint did not match Antron's hand, but it was never—
Hold up, a scooter? I know he ain't hit it.
For example, as
Hold on.
Carolyn mentions in the clip, there was a bloody handprint on the scooter that was used in the attack. This handprint did not match Antron's hand, but it was never looked into further. There was also footprints and fingerprints around the actual crime scene that again was not looked into. Furthermore, the tooth marks on the actual body did not match the teeth of Antron, and he actually believes that they more than likely belonged to a baby pit bull that lived in the apartment as well. On top of all of this, there was a lone shoe that was found right by the crime scene that didn't belong to Antron or Tanisha, and this again was not investigated further. It seems like at the very least there was a lot of negligence when it came to this case. Big Lurch did a 36-minute interview with Vlad TV where he spoke about this case further and claimed the only reason he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity was because his lawyer told him to do so. Since his incarceration, Big Lurch has been studying the law himself to try and get a retrial. So far, this has been unsuccessful, but based on a letter I found that he sent to a fan, he is still optimistic and hopes that a retrial will happen. In all honesty, based on the evidence that wasn't analyzed and the facts that were ignored, it does seem like a retrial should happen. I'm not saying that anybody is innocent or guilty, but when you look at how intense and disturbing—
Look, alright, so what I take of this, man, look, do not be taking drugs. You know what I'm saying? That's it. It's as simple as that, bro. In the letter, I read a little bit of the letter. It said he was about 18 when he started making his music, whatever. Just don't be taking drugs, bro. And then, when you get the opportunity to do what you want, you know what I'm saying? Don't let people take advantage of you. Don't let people, you know what I'm saying, put money in your face and then, you know what I'm saying, you just take it, bro. And they just, you know what I'm saying, they got control of your whole life. You know what I'm saying? That's like selling your morals. That's like selling your soul. But, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro. That case sounds so crazy and it's so long ago that you can't even judge it on your own opinions, bro. Like you really had to be there. You had to know stuff, but hey, man, I ain't no goddamn Sherlock Holmes. Y'all like that video, man? Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, man. Let me know in the comment section, bro. Y'all think he innocent? Y'all think he guilty? What's the word, man? Talk to me, man. But you already know it's your boy ChampReacts. We out.